All right then. Onward we go. Uh, Hello everyone, and welcome to the first bonus episode of Well, There's Your Problem, a podcast about engineering disasters. Today we're going to talk about Groverhaus. Uh, I'm Justin Rosniak. I also run a YouTube channel called Do Not Eat about cities and socialism, and my pronouns are he, him.
My name is Alice Caldwell Kelly. I'm also on a podcast called Trash Future, and my pronouns are she and her.
Liam Anderson. I am an asshole in our YouTube comments. As always, they
They give you so many
they've
opportunities to do
gotten
that, though.
less dumb recently. I know the guy masquerading as William T. Sherman. Which good thing William Tecumseh Sherman never did anything wrong, say to Native Americans, or anything like that. So yeah, please continue to be better. Pronouns are he, him.
And I am Kyle Hudak. I'm also known as Boldly Building, like Star Trek Boldly Going, in the City Skylines community. I make buildings for that game a lot. Well, I used to, once in a while now. My pronouns are he, him.
Yes, and of course, Kyle, you built Groverhaus in City Skylines.
I did. That was fun.
Congratulations on your affront to God.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yes, your replication of this monument to hubris.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson ain't got shit on this guy.
I actually have a tendency to build monuments to hubris, I guess, since I'm also known for modeling the Titanic a lot.
I mean, the two poles of engineering hubris, Groverhaus and the Titanic. First as tragedy, then as farce.
Oh, I was in a pizza shop in Center City, Philadelphia, around Halloween weekend, and just like at simultaneously and seemingly with no warning, 55-ish drunk white girls all started singing "My Heart Will Go On" from Titanic,
Oh, I hate that song.
and it was like an out of body experience. I thought I may have been in like a Cronenberg movie. I half expected this to turn into The Thing. It was real bad.
Oh.
This is what the anti-feminists were warning you about. You give women the right to vote, and like 80 years later, this
I was
happens.
pretty drunk, but I don't think anything in the world could have prepared me for that.
All right. So let's start with some background on Grover and Groverhaus. And we start with the Something Awful forums, right? These were
A terrible place.
God.
A cursed place.
You'll never see a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
so the Something Awful forums were comedy forums. They still are comedy forums. They were started sort of in the 1990s, and the unique feature of these forums was you had to pay $10 to join, right?
Which was an insurmountably high sum at the time.
Yeah, $10 was like, this is when candy bars cost a nickel, and they were bigger back then too.
Yeah, I will admit, I had no idea you had to pay.
They make the juice too spicy these days.
That's incredible.
So forums members were known as goons, right? I don't recall why.
Because you paid $10 for a forum.
Yeah, and Grover was a moderator of a forum called Goons in Platoons. That's the military sub-forum, right?
Yes, although he was not a troop.
No.
He was a civilian contractor who worked with the military. And he had decided that this gave him a rank equivalence.
He said he was equivalent to a lieutenant colonel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Grover's most famous post, of course, is on screen right now, which was just after the Iraq War started to become a thing. And he said, how long will it take to capture Baghdad? 2 days. Will Saddam be killed? Yes. Total Iraqi civilian casualties, 500 dead. Total military casualties in Iraq, 3,000 dead. Total military casualties in U.S., 15 dead. Will the Iraqi army regulars hold the lines? No. Will the Republican Guard fight to the end? No. Will chemical or biological weapons be used on invading troops? Yes. Will Saddam launch attacks on the Kurds? Yes. Will Saddam launch attacks on Israel? No. If yes, will Israel retaliate harshly? Yes. Will Saddam sacrifice Baghdad? Gas/nuke it? No. Will the Kurds make a grab for independence? Yes. Will Iran do anything silly like try for land? Yes. Will Saddam burn the oil fields? Yes. How long will the U.S. be occupying Iraq? Tilde 15 years. Will the Iraq War catalyze increased terrorism in America? No. In the long run, will this war be good or bad for the world? Good.
You see,
Yeah.
this was one of the
Batting 1,000.
preeminent strategical minds of our time.
Yes. Now we have to look at what those civilian casualties are. Just because they're civilian doesn't make them innocent. Let's take a look at a few possibilities. Number 1, a civilian walking down the street to the market gets killed by a cruise missile fired at the market. Number 2, a civilian asleep in their house is killed when their house is targeted by a smart bomb and blown up. Okay, these two are regrettable innocents being killed, but since the U.S. doesn't make a habit of targeting markets or houses, they're very small in number.
Sure it doesn't. Sure it doesn't.
Number 3, a civilian working at a chemical weapon factory gets killed when the chemical weapon plant is bombed. Number 4, a civilian security guard at a weapons depot is killed when the weapons explode. Number 5, a civilian contractor repairing a tank is killed by a Moab dropped on the unit. That's the mother of all bombs, if you...
Yeah, the one they can only use on, like, a giant pallet kicking it out the back of a C-130.
You know what the worst thing about that fucking thing is? It weighs, like, 21,600 pounds, and basically, like, only has the explosive power of SAM. It's just the most pointless fucking weapon. Bring back the BLU-82. We did nothing wrong in Vietnam.
Honestly, at that point, they should just shove a big wooden crate out the back that says TNT on it.
It's just a big round sort of bomb with the big fuse coming out of it.
Blackwater is basically Wile E. Coyote, but with war crime, so...
Number 6, a civilian engineer is killed when military command center he works at is destroyed. Number 7, a civilian delivering...
Grover, don't write yourself into your own posts, man. Just positing the existence of an Iraqi Ba'athist Grover. It's exactly the same guy, but with a much bigger moustache. Everyone hates him. He wears a fucking Hawaiian shirt to the Ba'ath Party headquarters.
Number 7, a civilian delivering snacky cakes to the Baghdad bunker vending
Jesus
machine.
Christ.
Eats a 5,000-pound bunker buster.
Oh.
Etc., etc. The list goes on. My point is that there are a lot of civilians directly supporting the military that aren't exactly, quote, innocent, unquote, and would be more rightly counted among the military casualties than civilian. I'm a civilian and work for the U.S. military, but I acknowledge I'm also a valid military target because of what I do. And I think the vast majority...
Thank you for your service.
And I think the vast majority of civilian casualties in this campaign will not be innocent.
Well, that's bold.
Yeah.
It's wrong, but it's bold.
Yes.
He's the Nostradamus of something awful.
Yes, in many ways. It contains the future, but in a harsh, twisted way.
The 15 years part was right, except
Yeah.
I mean, so far it's right. You know, it's good. That number's going to keep going up. I'd say plus minus 5 years he's currently right, but in a few years he won't be right anymore.
Well, thank God we didn't do anything at, say, Haditha or, kill and rape a 14-year-old girl in Iraq. So thankfully, the United States, it once again is clear of all war crimes. And it doesn't matter because we can't be tried by the ICC.
That's a good point.
You say that, but that 14-year-old girl could have been delivering snacky cakes to the Baghdad bunker vending machines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a civilian defense contractor. He works for the Navy, I believe.
What an asshole.
Of course he fucking does.
And he's a Penn State fan.
That explains that. Penn State will never win jack dick in terms of NCAA football championships. Again, you're never going to win anything. You'll never be as good as Ohio State. Give it up now. Fuck Penn State.
Just running this same post again, but with college football, how long will it take Penn State to capture the 40-yard line 2
I
days.
fucking hate Penn State.
More like the Nitwit Lions.
Oh, got him.
Oh, yep. All right. So now we got to talk a little bit about where Groverhaus was. So this is pictured here is the Hampton Roads metropolitan area, right? This is low-key one of the biggest cities in the United States. It's sort of a horrifically car-oriented, overgrown suburb composed of several cities. There's Norfolk, Suffolk, Newport News, Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach.
You're from Northern Virginia, man.
I know, right? And Chesapeake, where Grover was to build his house.
And it's all, like, Navy sprawl. Like,
Yes.
everyone there is
Yes.
a civilian contractor exactly like Grover, who works installing the dick-sucking machine on, like, an aircraft carrier or something.
He does the electrics for the dick-sucking machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's two industries in Hampton Roads, the Navy and then the Lambert Point coal export pier, where Norfolk Southern takes all of the coal from Virginia and ships it to China.
Terrific.
Yeah, I'd rather have the Navy thing. I'd rather be working on the dog machine.
And at the bottom, you see this big expanse of green. Oh, right. I can John Madden this. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go.
That a boy.
I mean, we can't see it, or at least I can't, because you turned your screen sharing off.
Oh
but
my fucking god!
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me handle
I
that.
I figured you were doing that on purpose, so your audio wouldn't cut.
I was
but-
just in the little slideshow trying to keep up here.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Now that
so
we fixed that.
yeah, so that's the Great Dismal Swamp.
It's a great name.
Yeah,
And a dismal one.
it's a dismal swamp.
That's where all the economists come from.
Just abutting that in sort of this area here is the city of Chesapeake, right? This I just realized that this sort of looks like Pikachu doing the surprised face.
You are a master of the art form. Thanks for the money, man.
The John Madden thing was so worth it. You're getting your money's worth.
All right. So anyway, Grover, of course, because he works for the Navy, he settles down in this area. Here's the original Grover house, right?
It's
You know,
fine.
it's just a nice little bungalow,
Yeah.
right? But Grover decided he wanted, something bigger. He wanted to do an addition, right? Now, best as I can tell, because I went in the records of the city of Chesapeake, and I found the permits for Groverhaus.
You really went the extra mile for this.
Yeah,
one.
that
You-
is devotion to the
you
craft.
doxed Grover for this.
I'm not doxing Grover. I know who I know, but I'm not going to tell anyone else. Let the man, he suffered enough, right?
No, he hasn't.
So the addition permit was pulled November 28th, 2005, electrical and plumbing shortly afterwards, HVAC about 10 months later. Grover listed himself as the tradesman and point of contact on all those permits.
I mean, apart from everything else, starting building this giant extension in November is in the Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah, aggressive.
It's brave.
Barbarossa, but for home improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, just in the Virginia fucking Rasputitsa.
At some point, a really angry Red Army soldier just comes out of nowhere and bayonets him.
Now we got to talk about the planning for Groverhaus.
Such that it is, yeah.
Yeah,
That's still the header on the podcast Twitter account.
this is true. Yes,
It's looking good. Look at all those windows.
this is probably the most cited image, and it's pretty bad, right? Because this is all just done in MS Paint, sort of as an exterior render of what the house would look like. You can sort of see how this gable is lifted, from there and just enlarged, But okay, this was sort of an exterior render. Grover actually, in fact, did do real planning in AutoCAD, right? So we can see.
That looks terrific.
It looks like the things
Yeah,
I made
looks
when I
great.
was 12 years old and got some house design software.
Yes, I remember those. You got them on like CD-ROMs.
They were the best, and also I made the worst stuff.
I only ever played The Sims, and
Oh, the Sims was an elevation of that same like software genre.
yeah, I like the Butler's Pantry. That's always been my favorite bit of this.
Does Grover have a butler? What would he need a butler for?
Grover Butler.
Well, I mean, as a lieutenant colonel, he is entitled to an adjutant. So
That's a good point.
That's-
I mean, as a Navy man, he needs a crew in his house.
that's right. It's less of Butler's pantry and more of a wardroom.
So yeah, the house is the addition over here, which is 2 stories. Obviously, we're only seeing the first story. Now, his wife wanted a 1-story addition with an attic, but Grover wanted usable space on the 2nd floor, so they compromised by going with his idea.
Hell yeah, dream big.
Grover will
So
not
your
be kept down.
No, Grover was many things, but he's not a wife guy.
So, kitchen, dining, 1st floor. There's a finished upstairs with a living room, a bathroom, sewing room, guest bedroom, storage room. He said he had a cathedral ceiling over the double height space in the kitchen / dining area.
Yeah, he never defined that, did he?
No.
It's tall, like a cathedral.
He was just gonna have like actual vaulting.
Like 19 feet tall, like a real cathedral.
I want some goddamn flying buttresses.
Maybe we could hire Grover to fix Notre Dame.
Yes. Oh god, the Grover Spire.
With grass on the top of it for some goddamn reason.
I know, right? All right, so couple things going on in this slide.
Oh,
we
God.
start talking about the construction. Now, you see the shed over here, right?
I do, that you have helpfully circled. It looks like a fine shed.
Yeah, so this shed represents the sum total of Grover's carpentry experience before taking on this project.
Aha.
It's just
Right.
it's the same thing as the house. You just scale it up. It literally it's a square with
It's
a
a
roof.
tiny little house, exactly. We have solved America's housing crisis. Build more sheds.
Now, I'm not an expert in residential construction, but I'm going to try and make some commentary on the house going up, right? You should take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know everything. I don't know that I necessarily know anything. But what we're looking
But
at,
you wouldn't try to do this yourself, is the key difference.
I know enough to know where I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got to know your limitation.
Yeah, it's Socrates,
So-
I believe.
This is facing backwards towards where, I think the arch window would be up here, right? And then the longer window would be over here. Right. So these are eye joists, right? These long guys here. They're 14 inches deep. What you got is I think it's a 2x4 on top, it's a 2x4 on bottom, and then in the middle is the web of the joist, and that's made out of oriented strand board, which is sort of like industrial paper mache. And these are extremely common. They're a little stronger than equivalent dimensional lumber, which is just like a sawn board. And they're extremely prone to very rapid failure in a fire.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll do like a full engineered lumber episode one day.
Yeah, engineered lumber is the high-strength steel of lumber.
It's worse than that.
That's really bad.
Yeah. So now you may ask, where do you think Grover got his experience to build? Where Grover thought he got his experience where to build the house? And he said, mostly intuition, I guess. None of this stuff is rocket science, and normal people do it all the time. Just usually not so much altogether. I have a solid engineering background.
Do you?
And between code books and examples from the web, I was able to do most of it. I had a few questions that I posted to DIY forums, but to be honest, it wasn't very helpful. They were mostly just all, that's beyond a DIY job. You need to hire a professional.
I would give anything to find out where he posted it on those forums.
Yes, and what the questions were.
Yeah. We'll look at continue
Oh,
looking
God.
at framing here. Again, for reference, here is arch window. Here is rectangular window.
Oh, that looks nice.
It looks a little. If I can use a Scots word here, shoogly. It looks a little uncertain.
You're gonna have to define that for
Yeah.
the crowd.
Let's say wobbly, but with an extra connotation of danger.
Ah, okay. Janky,
I
I
like it.
believe, is our
Yeah.
word for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's sort of the framing, right? So mostly a conventionally framed, house. There's 2x whatever wood studs, dimensional lumber for the lintels or the headers if you prefer, and there's Grover called this portion here balloon framing because the studs were much higher. But one characteristic of balloon framing is that the continuous studs actually hold up a floor, and they don't do that here.
It's not balloon framing unless it's actually from the balloon region of the Great Dismal Swamp. Otherwise, it's just a sparkling joist.
It's a stud, not a joist.
Ah,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah.
Way to go, Alice.
So he was going to put on a scissor frame roof, which meant each roof truss had to be installed in one piece. We'll see how that complicated stuff later. Scissor frame is basically it's a frame where we have the one wooden beam up here, the other one goes like this, and then there'd be one that goes like that, and then there'd be one that goes like that.
How many cathedrals use that?
Actually, well, I've seen a few churches with it. No cathedrals, though.
But he wanted a cathedral, damn it.
Yeah. So the framing is a little, janky, right? Or shoobly, as Alice said. Like you can sort of see there's there's some wood which is a little crooked over here. You can see I don't know what's going on over here with that gap between the two studs there. So some stuff looks a little, it's a little off, right? It's not anything that's going to be super major, but it's kind of doesn't look exactly right. Okay, and then one interesting thing is that Chesapeake, Virginia, did not require a framing inspection. Right, he actually had to call in an inspector and convince them to do one.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so residential construction standards are kind of lax in a lot of the United States. You don't technically need an engineer to put up a house, even let alone an architect.
Good. They stifle creativity.
Exactly right.
We would have never gotten Groverhaus.
Of all the many crimes of settler colonialism, the legacy that led us to Groverhaus may be among the greatest.
So then, we'll move to the front of the house for the framing. This is for the garage doors. So like, there's one garage door here, there's one garage door here, and then of course there's the gables here, or there's no gable there. That goes straight up.
Looking good.
Yeah, I know, right? And he's got these two big members here are called LVLs. That's for laminated veneer lumber. It's sort of like they stick a bunch of plywood together and then glue it and then compress it.
Oh, that sounds safe.
Yeah, they're very common now. They're a little bit stronger than the equivalent wood, just sawed wood dimensional lumber. But they tend to not hold up very well to moisture.
That's a recurring theme, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to build in such a way that things do not leak to
Impossible.
use engineered lumber.
Impossible.
In fact, a callback to, what was it, episode 3 that we did, where we talked about the impossibility of engineering a building that doesn't leak.
It's very difficult. It helps if you got a sloped roof, actually. Like, that helps a lot. But again, engineered lumber kind of iffy if especially if you're working with a flat roof. So I looked at this. This is the only image. I'm not sure if these are installed correctly. It looks like there may be insufficient bracing at either end because it looks like they're standing on like one stud as opposed to like several. Right? I can't confirm that. Obviously, I was not there. I can only see what the pictures show me. Now, in terms of like stuff that's actually really wrong structurally with the framing, there's no like load bearing drywall, right? Like everyone always says.
Oh,
I knew it was too good to be true.
breaking my heart.
That was a meme that happened later. Is probably in reference to the fact that Grover mentioned in the thread he had certain walls which were not built to reach the joists, right?
Okay.
Jesus, what?
And that's because they're not load bearing walls, right? And since they're not load bearing, you don't build them in such a way that they might bear a load.
So you just build a little sort of partition that stops just shy of the ceiling.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the drywall will go straight up to the ceiling, but the actual partition itself stops just before.
Awesome.
Good, that sounds
Yeah.
safe. Good.
Yeah, that's residential construction. Now there was some hokey pokey involved.
Is that the technical term?
Technical term, yes. Tying the new house in with the old part of the house. And I think the ceiling of the old part of the house was somehow supported entirely by a hurricane strap, which are these metal guys here and here, right? But there's no pictures of that online, and I didn't fully understand Grover's textual description of it, so I can't explain exactly what he did there.
I mean, this is always the problem with accident engineering and reverse engineering, is you're having to work back from this incomplete understanding from someone under stress. You don't know why the pilot moved the controls in the way that he did, and you don't know why Grover decided to just have it held up with a glorified metal bungee cord.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move on to housing systems in the house. So, number one, the plumbing. Right?
Looks great.
I know, right?
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. So the plumbing took multiple attempts to install. Grover misread the city codes, and he installed half of the water capacity he needed. Right?
Which attempt was this?
That was. Oh, this. We'll get to this. There's a story behind this one.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Now, and while he's building, he sort of skirts the health department codes, right? Because when he was building, he was still hooked up to a septic system. The city health department said, you can't build that many bedrooms because if you have that amount of occupancy in the house, it's going to overload your septic system, right? So what he did was he just said, well, those rooms aren't bedrooms. And the health department was like, sure, why not?
Oh my god. This is like the world's worst Airbnb listing. People live here.
What he did was just remove closets from the rooms, and he said, well, those aren't bedrooms. They're various utility rooms. So, and the health department was like, sure, whatever.
So we can work towards a definition in if a lifestyle center is a mall without air conditioning, then a utility room is a bedroom without a closet.
Basically,
Yes.
yeah.
So when he built those bedrooms, there actually were no closets in there in the finished house.
I'm not sure exactly whether he put closets back in at some point. He did eventually hook up to the municipal sewer system, though, right? And he decided to DIY this as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he got someone to dig a trench to the street, and he put down the pipe. And he came and he got someone to inspect it, and they said, well, it looks okay, but you put the clean-out in the wrong spot. The clean-out being a section of pipe that protrudes out of the sewer lateral. The lateral being the section of pipe that goes from the house to the sewer. This section of pipe protrudes out. It's got a cap on top, and the idea is that if you get a clog in the sewer, you can go, or in the lateral, you can go in with like a pipe snake or something and clean it out from there, right? So he put a new one in the right place, and the city came back and said it was the wrong one. So
Oh no.
he had to replace it again. And then
And big government overreach, I swear.
I know, right? Then they're like, okay, it's fine. They give him permission to just cut into the sewer himself and install the pipe, which is like that's exactly what you want to do as like an inexperienced person is cut into a sewer
Yeah, a
Yes.
municipal sewer.
with like an angle grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like it might end shittily.
Well, he wrecked a bunch of tools doing it because he tried to sawzall into a 50-year-old cast iron pipe.
I was so excited for you to laugh at my poop joke, and then you didn't.
Which poop
I
joke?
said it was going. It sounded shitty. And
Oh,
you just
yeah.
I
ignored
see, I
me,
see.
breaking my heart.
Damn. Well, you know, it's pretty shit situation. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it just because I'd be exposed to the poo gas. You know?
Don't step in the poo.
Don't step in the
Which
poo.
apparently Grover did not learn.
This is coming very close to Killdozer.
Oh, it really is.
We're getting to the poo. So now he manages to get the pipe installed, everything hunky dory, right? But before he could backfill the trench, it rains. The trench collapses, and then the pipe floats to the surface and breaks in half.
And that's this, right, that we're looking at here. He just had a thing of PVC pipe and it just snapped.
Yeah. So,
Amazing.
according to his post, he had to reattach the pipe, both put it back together and then reattach it to the sewer in 3 feet of dirt/poop water right before Christmas in 2006.
The American
Yep.
dream.
Yeah. Now, according to the permits I looked at in the plumbing inspection, he had his rough-in rejected once, the sewer connection was rejected once, but they were both later approved.
I mean, that's fine. Nobody's gonna, like... If they're letting him fucking try to sawzall into their sewer, they're not gonna be that particular, right?
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about a lot of the stuff I heard in the post versus the very little information I could get through the city permit lookup. So, now, here's something which looks concerning if you don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah, it looks like plumbing gore.
I feel like this is still pretty concerning.
Well, the plumbing goes, as you can see, straight through the joists, right? But I actually looked up the manufacturer's specification for these joists, and even though that's a pretty big hole, this is actually fine.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, so, plumbing through the joist, that's fine, apparently. Even with, because there's a lot of holes going on
And
here and there and everywhere. But,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Welcome to Horny
Yeah,
Cast.
it tells a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing here is not that it's drilling through the lumber, but that it's drilling through it so many times in so many different directions. In like it's like the pipe screensaver in Windows 98. He's just kind of gone.
Oh man, I missed that.
And
Yeah.
these pipes, I believe, go up to the second floor bathroom, and that one big pipe comes down from the toilet, and the other pipes are coming from the sink and the bath drainage.
That would
Awesome.
make the most sense.
Terrific.
Yeah, I mean, the little flexible hoses here are probably the water supply, and then everything big white PVC is sewage. What was the? Oh yeah. So we move on to the HVAC system.
That's not.
Yeah. So
On the other hand, that's not good.
you remember I was talking about the scissor frames earlier? That's these guys here, right? Those are holding up the ceiling.
Oh sweet Jesus wept.
Okay. So in order to get the HVAC down, Grover waited a while, and then he took out a home.
Oh god, there goes the audio.
Lost him.
Damn it. Is that toilet paper holding those up?
Is it?
What is that?
Oh.
It's incredible. Isn't it beautiful?
It doesn't look like. Yeah, it is. They should have sent a poet. Why is that a bucket that he has there and.
And it's funny because you know he there's a plan going around if the second floor, and he just like sketched in like a bright purple the the ducting all over the place, and it's like what it looks like in the drawing is so messy, and that's just how it looks like in the actual house.
Yeah, he's a skilled technical artist.
Am I back?
The most skilled.
Am I back?
Yeah, that's
You
back.
are.
Excellent.
You're back.
Okay.
Welcome back.
And I'm recording.
Hello,
and
folks.
everything is hunky dory. All right. Sorry about dropping out there.
No worries. So, tell us about this fucked up HVAC situation then.
So Grover waited a while to install the HVAC because it was winter before. He took out a home equity loan to pay for the HVAC because the
Jesus
bank
Christ.
had heard he was doing an addition. And they're like, oh yeah, your house has a higher value now. Go ahead, take out the home equity loan to install HVAC. And they didn't even
the 2000s.
yeah, they didn't even look at it or anything. They just believed him. It's 2006. You can get away with anything.
Hell yeah.
And he was
The good old days.
He was frustrated several times because he wanted to DIY this, but HVAC dealers only sold HVAC equipment to registered HVAC contractors and not DIY people.
That's a scam. The typical, Adam Smith was right. Guilds are a conspiracy against the public.
So he gets some quotes from HVAC installers, and they were too high. So DIY it is. He did some research, and he finally got some ducting from a sheet metal supplier, I think, in
Good,
Florida, right?
Crazy
Honest work.
Vaclav's House of Sheeting.
Yes. Porn Emporium and Computer Parts Warehouse. Yes.
Yeah.
And he deliberately installs an older HVAC unit, right, which uses R22. Now, R22 is a refrigerant called, its chemical name is chlorodifluoromethane, right?
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
It
it's
has a lot of syllables, so it must be good.
yeah, that's a.
Did this motherfucker try and roll coal in his AC?
Oh, it's worse. He rolled CFCs, right?
I mean, I was being metaphorical. I don't think he had a literal coal-powered air conditioner. But, Jesus, though.
Chlorodifluoromethane is a greenhouse gas 1,800 times as potent as CO2.
Nice.
Yeah, means you need 1,800 times less of it.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's it was very discouraged in 2006, and as of January 1st, 2020, it will be completely illegal to use.
Damn. Fed's finally catching up with Grover.
I know, right?
Bastards.
The thing is, it works really well, as do all chlorofluorocarbon refrigerants. Another thing he does is he does not install return ducts. So usually when you're doing air conditioning in a house, one of the things you do is, the air conditioner draws in some air from the outside, but most of the air is recirculated. That means you don't have to cool it as much, right? So he didn't do that. All the air is just forced in.
It's just running like a train air compressor all the time.
Fred, you bastard.
According to the permits, I looked at his rough-in HVAC system was approved, and the final inspection was also approved. So he didn't have too much trouble here.
Cool. I mean, we were speculating when you dropped out that that's toilet paper that's holding that ducting up.
I refuse to believe that it isn't.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's fine, but I guess it is.
It's a very thinly written code.
Yeah. The electrics. All right. So
This is the least immediately dangerous looking thing so far,
he's
right?
an electrical engineer. So here's the myth. The myth is that Grover was certified as an inspector by the city so he can approve his own shitty electrical work, right? The reality, Grover got his electrical engineering professional engineering license. That's the one that comes with the stamp. During the construction of the Grover house, but he still relied on city inspectors who, based on records, approved everything the first time around. Now, he did put a lot more outlets than he needed in the house, but
No such thing.
yeah, I mean, at this point, I agree. Well, that wasn't too much of an issue. Everything got approved. So, anyway, now we're going to go on to some of the classic pictures.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yes.
Oh.
The catapult window. I remember this.
Yeah. So, number one,
The
there's insulation under the stairs. You obviously...
Yeah, that's where you want insulation. Keep your stairs warm.
I mean, there's a little cubby under the stairs there. Maybe it's for his pet. I don't know.
It's for Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's for Harry Potter. That's why it needs
Read another
insulation.
book. Read another book.
No.
Read another book.
No, what it is that there's no insulation in this section of the wall, right? So his Harry Potter cubby is extra cold.
He's just created an ice box by accident.
Yeah, this kind of looks like is... What if that was
Oh god damn it.
a cat?
This is something that in the trade we call foreshadowing, isn't it?
I mean, there is that photo of the cat sitting on the stairs, isn't it?
No, that's true. Yes. Here are the same drywall stair or the same insulated stairs, plus the fridge here, which is protruding from the cabinets, and then over here we have a nice kitty looking at the fiberglass insulation. I'm sure very interested in it.
Aghast. Oh, that's the delicious house meat.
Is it just me, or is there less insulation here than there was
There
earlier?
is. He's taken out 3 or 4 steps worth of insulation.
Weight savings.
Poor kitty. Get all-
He put a lightning kiss on his house. You get like a racing seat and you take...
Oh yeah, gotta get the racing harness for the kitchen table too.
And the main thing is, I cannot get over just how quickly they just moved stuff into the house. Also,
Yeah.
if you look in the background there in the kitchen, you see the door going into the rest of the house. There's like the ceiling in the rest of the house is lower than like, so there's just like a random bit sticking down in the doorway. It just looks weird.
Oh, I think it looks great. All that shit, he still couldn't get the fridge to fit any more nicely.
Yeah.
You know he tried is the funniest part, and at some point he lost a battle of will with the refrigerator.
And it's not like he did a rendering of the kitchen before he built it.
Yeah.
So like he should have figured that out beforehand.
Not a good one, as it turns out.
So we know precisely how bad Grover is at measuring, because it's about, what, like 6 inches worth of fridge that's just protruding.
Just stub everything on the fridge.
This is the culture that American fascists want to kill the world for, is Grover's fucked up kitchen with the house meats.
Mr. Grover's Wild Ride.
Is that
yes.
a wall plug on the half landing of the stairs?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Is that a
The
thermostat?
thermostat is way up here, yes.
And the most
Just-
convenient place for it, yeah.
Let me just turn on the air. I need to go upstairs.
Let me grab the ladder.
And it's gonna have direct sunlight on it from the murder window too, right?
Then from the I don't know, maybe the big round window.
Yeah,
who
the big
knows?
round
don't know
window,
which
I
way the
think,
sun
would get
goes.
it. Yeah. Here was an incident in the thread where Grover was using his grill too close to his vinyl siding, and he melted the siding, and he had to replace it.
But I can't believe that's happened.
This is one of the things it should be a meme that you debunk in this, but this happened. You can see his shitty grill, and yeah, no, he just did that.
I'm so glad he didn't burn the whole thing down, though. That would have been unfortunate, because then we wouldn't have this anymore.
Well, it's very hard to set a light in the Great Dismal Swamp.
They should just landmark this building.
Look, my God, look at the windows. Look at how poorly fitted the windows are. Aside from his, like, and we'll get to this later, his insane thing of having, like, 5 different window designs. there are two that are identical either side of the doors, and neither of them fit the same.
Window go up, window go down. Window go up, window go down.
Stick-on windows are like the worst things. I hate them so much. And then one thing which I wanted to note is this next photo is always looked at as like, wow, that looks incredibly dangerous, right? But this is the standard way to do house facades everywhere in the United States.
Hell yeah!
As you
Look at that.
balance on a ladder on two poles.
Oh, that's tight.
Shaking hands with danger, I guess.
Shake hands with danger.
Shake hands with danger.
Yeah, I can't sing.
Yeah. So, another classic image. This is before excavation had really commenced. We can see Grover, who's
True, Grover climbing out of his well to shame mankind.
Here out of my poop ditch.
yeah.
Pioneers, oh pioneers.
Yeah, so we can see how much, swamp is here, which I guess 1 million
He is
feet.
he is just built. He's built fucking Passion Day.
Can somebody explain what the toot pipe in the shed is for?
Tune exhaust. Tune gang. Oh God, I just want so badly to hook a bassoon up to it.
This is going to make no sense to anyone who's just listening to the episode.
That's fine.
Fuck 'em.
Hogs. We already have their money.
And he's got a door.
We'll just do the snake oil salesman thing. We pack up the Patreon after the first round after the first month comes in, and we're just gone.
and the pipe. Like, there's a door in the shed for it, so that just raises another question.
No, you know what it is? It's a periscope.
Yes.
He opens the hatch, and the pipe goes out.
Suck it, neighbor.
He's a Navy man. That's
You might
it.
need one.
Yes. Exactly.
And there's a propane tank right
So you
next
just
to the
up
house.
periscope,
And
yeah.
So many shovels. Whoa, oh.
Need a lot of poop trains.
I made a joke in the traffic engineering episode about American highway engineering being one guy with 50 shovels. This is the guy, and those are the shovels.
Grover's ready for you.
Yeah.
This is America.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's look at the finished product, right? Here's the upstairs living room.
Why is the subwoofer on the VCR?
Why is there recessed lighting at an angle facing the guy
And
watching
if you look
the
at another
TV?
picture, there's like just a ton of little vents in the ceiling, which I don't know if that's normal or not, but it looks weird.
Those just leak the CFCs into your face.
Is that Cincinnati, Memphis? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect for my Power 5 conferences.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine hauling that furniture up the stairs?
That you built
I mean,
yourself.
there is one thing I'll say for him. As a military man, his grasp of camouflage is amazing, because with that little tiny shitty pot plant, I didn't notice the other speaker, and so I was just confronted by the visual of the one speaker on the right side of the TV, and I was just being like, where is his friend?
Look at all
Where
the
is his
wires
friend?
under there.
Yeah, those are hidden well.
It's good cable management. What is all that shit on the floor on the far right, and what is on the siding?
What?
And
That's. I think
what?
that is the one word that summarizes everything about Groverhaus. What?
No, note the.
I've always tried to figure out if this was a Santa hat on the left.
Note the angled down lighting.
Yeah.
Right into your face.
I'm just trying to watch TV. Why are these lights shining in my eyes?
Just doing the Jean-Luc Picard. There are 4 lights thing. God, that TV looks precarious
I was
too.
about to
Oh,
say.
it is.
You know, I found out that's a 73-inch television. That's bigger than mine. I'm angry now.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. We gotta go get a bigger
We gotta
one.
get a bigger television.
Big TV.
Yeah.
Big TV, big room, big ceiling, big recliner.
Yes.
Um,
With a lever.
Yeah, imagine reclining so far that you fall over the edge of the railing and just
Right
then
into
roll
the
down
jettison window, yeah.
out of the window. Yeah. No, the lever doesn't recline it. The lever activates the periscope in the shit.
Could God create a recliner that reclines so far that not even he could
Recline. Go out of the ejection window.
Yeah. He would recline right down the ejection window.
I mean, remember, this is a Navy man. They have planes with ejector
It's
seats.
true.
He's just wanted that in his
And
house.
as we know, he is actually in the Navy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything can be explained by the Navy status.
Here are the finished stairs, including, as we can see, the Harry Potter cupboard.
Icebox.
Looking
And
good.
the sunlight coming precariously close to the thermostat.
Yes.
Oh, natural.
And another plug at the base of the stairs.
Yeah, for when you need to plug in something to trip people.
I've played Medal of Honor. There are tripwires just hooked up to the claymore for when your kid tries to adjust the thermostat.
Yeah. Why are there two tables? Why are they at different angles?
I like that. I like the idea of running the gauntlet in my own living room.
That's for
And like, what is that painting?
it's for playing the floor is lava, but the floor is actually just structurally unsound.
No, it literally is lava, probably.
Here's the house screaming.
Kill me.
Why?
Father, give me legs. Why? Why
Speaking of Cronenberg body horror,
well, why do the windows on the top floor look like an equalizer?
yeah, you've heard of house music. It's right there,
Oh,
Alice.
fuck off.
He had to make these windows smaller to fit this gable,
To fit the gable.
Yeah. which needs to exist for some reason.
And you know, honestly, why didn't he just put another lantern light over the other garage door while you're at it? I don't-
Yeah, why is the one lantern light he did put up off center to both the gable and the door?
I just want to know why this entire space up here is wasted. Like, you could put like a nice window up there, you know, or you could
No. You'll give him ideas.
He'll come back.
don't do that. Or to make it consistent with the other gables and put little vents up.
You're drunk with power and also alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Got your Cronenberg body horror right here, folks.
So, I guess all I have left now is memes. Here are the classics.
Ready.
Before you get to the memes, I need a beer.
Okay.
Or actually, just continue with the memes, and I'll get some like asthma beer can.
So as you can see, we can see MC Escher's house.
Which somehow makes more sense than the actual Groverhaus.
Yes. Then we have Bin Laden's compound house.
Approaches guarded by tribal militiamen.
I like that just lighted laser.
Mismatched windows located on swamp side of building. Garbage disposal, extent of plumbing / electric experience.
I mean, I do feel like the Navy SEALs probably should have crashed a helicopter onto Groverhaus.
Oh, the stealthocopter. Aw.
Makes me sad.
Most Navy SEAL shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's a tweet here which I couldn't confirm, but I decided to add in some hashtag BTS, which is behind the scenes on the Groverhaus saga, using the correct umlaut here.
No, the incorrect umlaut, making it the Groverhaus.
Does that make it Groverhaus?
That does make it Groverhaus.
Thanks for nothing,
Yeah,
Roz.
well, I don't know anything. I don't know German. I don't know any languages. I barely know English.
Certainly not French.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
When this thing blew up, some goons on IRC reported Grover to the local zoning board and sheriffs and a bunch of other government agencies out of fear that the house was dangerous to public safety and, more importantly, Grover's safety.
I mean, that's probably true, but...
Yeah. And then here's Andrew Yang. Just visited a prototype for affordable housing. Affordable housing units made out of shipping containers that cost about $35,000 each. Very comfortable, but of course it's Groverhaus.
What if we containerized Groverhaus somehow? Like, what if that was how an intermodal container worked? They're all just the shape and size of Groverhaus. They have all the windows.
You could do that. You could just stack like 4 of them together and put a gable on it.
You just have like a Panamax like bulk carrier just to have stacked full of Groverhouses.
You could tessellate Groverhaus if you have some of them upside down. And of course we have American football, but it's Groverhaus. And then we have the classic.
This is rare footage of Grover.
Oh no!
Can't believe we actually did pivot to video.
Mm-hmm.
Only took us 8 episodes.
And then as we gotta let Kyle pitch his Groverhaus.
Oh yes. Yeah. So for a while, they're just. I was surprised there wasn't a Groverhaus already for City Skylines. So I was like, why not? Which I think is what Grover said when he decided to build it. So yeah, I did a little digging. I dug up as many pictures as I could, and I found some new stuff here and there. And I just started building it because I hadn't made anything for City Skylines in a while, and I wanted something simple. And boy, this wasn't as simple as I thought. Yeah.
No, simple stuff tends to have like regular, consistent angles, I think.
Yeah. And this, I wanted to get it as accurate as I could, so I counted the number of rows of siding vertically.
Braver than the troops.
And then I measured
So
out.
that's
I measured out all the windows.
that's why it looks as unnerving as it does.
Yeah,
it's because that's correct in its detail.
Yeah. And I even tried to get the missing siding exactly where it should be.
Yeah, you did an amazing job. Like, you have the grill there and everything.
I like how I like how the lighting in the windows shows actual Groverhaus scenes.
I was contemplating actually modeling like a bit of the interior and using the glass mod to just have it in there, but I thought that was going a little too far. But I did actually I ended up turning this model into a 3D printable Groverhaus, which you can find on Thingiverse. And
oh my god, we have to get one of those.
Yeah, I actually want to print some up. I got a new Prusa printer. I want to print some up, and I could send them to you guys if you want.
Yes, please.
Yes, we want Groverhaus.
Yes, I will. All right. Then I will print them for you guys.
Is it Groverhouses or is it Groverhausen?
Groverhaus would actually be the plural.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Then I will print you. I will print you some Groverhaus.
Dankeschön.
Fantastic.
and then here we're gonna be serious for a second here. Okay, so one of the frightening things about Groverhaus is that Groverhaus is not particularly poorly built, all things considered, right? One of the things I don't remember if I mentioned or not is that Groverhaus was sheathed in plywood, right? Which is actually now the good stuff.
Oh, that's that good shit. Yeah.
But this was pre-recession.
Yeah.
Like, you could just
You
get
could do whatever you want.
financing
Yes.
for anything.
Yeah.
You had cheap materials in abundance. And now we have, after years and years of recession, Groverhaus is unattainable luxury, and it's well built. It's just very comedically built.
Yeah, so like today you'd sheet the house in oriented strand board, which is, as I mentioned, sort of that industrial paper mache, right? And we have, a whole like 6-story buildings going up in engineered lumber. And these materials, they're fine if they're kept dry. If they're exposed to moisture, they fall apart pretty quickly. And then, of course, how they perform in a fire. We haven't really had a major fire in an engineered lumber building yet that wasn't under construction. I think it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. And when it does, we'll be there. episodes.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what?
It's just wonderful to know that all of these condos and big apartment buildings are all like collapse and fire risks waiting to happen.
Oh yeah.
We've already had a few like major crises like that. Like going back as far as like the 1990s, there was the leaky condo crisis in British Columbia, where they built condos basically to California standards in Vancouver.
Oh, good.
And it turns out it rains a lot in Vancouver, and all these buildings just turned into like pure black mold, like in a year. And then,
Well,
Nice.
I mean, I couldn't pass up mentioning Grenfell, of course, because that's another example of using cheaper materials post-recession and it just becoming a death trap instantly.
yes, that also did happen. That was cladding, right?
Yes. That was aluminium cladding, so we don't have the lumber equivalent of that yet, but matter of time.
Oh yeah, soon enough. And then
Mm.
even more recently in the Philadelphia suburbs, well, not more recently than Grenfell, I think. I don't recall the exact order of events. Toll Brothers, which is a luxury home builder, you know,
Boo!
they build single family homes in the
Garbage.
Philadelphia suburbs, and a lot of their houses just started going bad like all at once because of like the engineered lumber construction. You know, it just fails really quickly if it's exposed to any kind of moisture, which, you know, a lot of buildings leak. And
I know it says it's always sunny in Philadelphia, but as it turns out, that's not actually entirely true.
No, I love to build my house out of the shitty institutional coffee machine polystyrene cup that just starts melting as soon as it gets any liquid in it.
But yeah, that's I guess the scary thing is that in the year of our Lord 2019, every house is a Groverhaus.
Mm,
That's the twist.
Yeah.
it is.
Hubris will kill the species. Can't wait.
It's your Adam Curtis voice. But then a very strange thing happened. We all turned into Grover.
Our house is old.
Mhm.
It will probably collapse without some sort of catastrophe, thank God.
Yeah, it'd take a real catastrophe like a minor earthquake to take this house down.
As long as it doesn't take out the deck, I'm good.
That's true, yeah. So, anyway, those are the slides I got for this. Next bonus episode will be on Liam's van.
Hell yeah.
The Tacoma Narrows of light commercial vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stick around for that. You could hear me lamenting about the dream that never was. The
Why
LS
is the
swamp.
fuel cap in the middle?
Shut up.
Why is it the color that it is?
Oh, you don't like the
Oh.
beige bomber? Oh man.
Look, it's called it was called StarCraft.
It was. Yeah. I noticed that in this picture the running boards are still attached, so that's super tight.
Are you telling me they fell off?
No, not totally.
It's a Zerg opposite of a Rush.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm turtling because I have to.
yeah.
Oh, I missed that thing.
Oh, this is a good van.
Yeah, if anyone wants to buy my
It
van,
is a good van. Yeah.
DM
So,
me on
somebody
Twitter,
buy the
folks.
van. Buy the van.
We'll do the
Please do.
we'll do the episode and then see if people want to buy the van.
I can talk for this fucking thing about an hour. I absolutely can.
Oh, quick note about the 3D printed Groverhaus. I forgot to mention that has an interior. So, yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I love that you've sort of elevated this. I forget what art movement it is where you take sort of quotidian outsider art and then you try to like rarefy it with like craft, but you've absolutely succeeded in doing that.
Oh.
It's I don't know, it's like illuminating a Lost Girls or something like that.
It was definitely enlightening modeling it, though, and making the interior, because you don't really understand it anymore, but it's fun.
It changes you. You kind of it's a little bit like the puzzle box from Hellraiser.
Oh God.
I'm definitely a new person having done it. I don't know how.
You've been visited by the Grover of
I guess now that I've built Groverhaus virtually, I could build my own Groverhaus.
and that's what we're all aiming to do one day, is Grover our ways into home ownership.
Oh God!
Until we build one giant Kowloon walled city of Grover houses.
We will all make our Groverhaus.
We are all Grover now.
Yes.
We're gonna make him grow from the swamp. That's what we'll do.
Drain the swamp and build Grover houses there. All right. I guess that's the end of the podcast. So, here's the part where we do the pitches.
Jesus Christ!
Thank God we have editing.
Fuck off. Yeah, fine, I'll go first. Listen to Trash Future. It's available wherever podcasts are podcasted. We also have a Patreon. You should give us money as well. We just read Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK's awful, shitty book that he wrote in the 90s. So listen to that.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Okay.
do.
Okay. Fuck. All right. God.
I guess I'll go. Basically already pitched everything, but just to reiterate, I'm boldly building 2 on Twitter. That's boldly building. And the same thing on Steam, where I post assets for City Skylines. What else? And of course, you can find the Groverhaus on my workshop there, and you can find the 3D printed Groverhaus with interior on Thingiverse. If you have a printer, you can print it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with this, but I also spent a lot of time working on Titanic stuff for a project called Titanic Honor and Glory, if you ever want to check that out. We did a real-time Titanic sinking animation, 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I actually had to animate that whole thing.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that, by the way.
Wow.
Like,
The game?
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
really? Awesome. Have you seen that animation?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I did it, the whole damn thing.
It's amazing. I mean, all I can say is something awful zipline asset for City Skylines when.
Oh, I keep hearing that. People ask me that sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I think
That it's a future bonus episode, I think, is what it is.
yeah, you could do the basement pool, because that requires no effort except
That's
using an
true.
existing house and saying there's a basement pool in it.
Quick and dirty.
And then I guess I have to pitch my YouTube channel, Do Not Eat, on the YouTube, talk about cities and socialism. And then, of course, you should donate to our Patreon if you pirated this episode. Just $2, and you will feel better about having stolen this episode that you just listened to.
And I won't come to your house and lecture you on things that are not my van but are far more
No,
uninteresting.
I'm not gonna do that. I think like I'm a good Marxist. If you stole this, you redistributed according to your need, and if you like genuinely couldn't afford $2 a month, then like more power to you, I guess.
No, you will be shot.
You wouldn't download a van.
Well, you could because it's fucking broken. So
You could maybe 3D print one.
Yes, you
Also,
just have to
fucking
model
broken.
Liam's van.
Yeah,
Oh shit, I'd buy that.
we could
buddy.
we could do a minivan, but not that
No,
kind of minivan.
hey, no.
It's a full-size conversion
Oh,
van.
it was a joke. I'm not very bright.
Yeah.
Well, me neither.
Okay. Are we good?
Oh shit, I gotta go.
I think we're good.
Oh no, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. I am Liam Anderson. I'm just gonna yell louder now.
Oh, right. Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah,
Come
eat
on.
dicks. I am at all. I'm sorry. Whose audio dropped twice? I am Old Man Anderson on Twitter. Find me on there. Getting real mad about national security and generally shitty people. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And on our YouTube comment section, please don't be a fucking moron in there.
Pronouns.
Yeah,
Pronouns. Yeah.
he, him.
Yeah,
Also he, him.
he, him.
She, her.
All right. We're good.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.